The stretch run of the Spurs season is here. Let's talk about some storylines. The addition of Plumlee, preview tonight's Spurs-Suns game.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're doing the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kansas 5 San Antonio. As always, I'm glad to have you all back. Hope you're having a great day. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kansas 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Become an everydayer. Got to do that ASAP. So, yeah, get on that while you can. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla-y, cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. What are we talking about today? If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. Well, we're going to be looking at some few storylines as a stretch run of the season.
That's why today's episode is brought to you by Close.
We're going to be a little over 20 games, and it's going to be showtime like that. Showtime meaning the postseason. So what are some things you're going to be watching for in the final 20 games?
You're not just working cleaner,
then talk about the addition of Mason Plumlee.
Customers.
And then preview tonight's Spurs-Suns game.
One shared business number, so nothing gets
the only
missed.
team the Spurs
Everyone sees the full conversation thread.
Interesting to see how that shakes out
faster,
tonight out in Austin, Texas. Yeah, don't forget about that, everybody. Bring our guest. He is back. Casey Vieira, my colleague here at Locked On
Smart
Spurs.
AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations,
post shows,
highlight
post
next
game
steps,
shows,
so details never slip through the
squad
cracks.
shows.
No surprise,
Casey,
is the number one rated business phone system on G2.
Happy
trusted by
Thursday.
more than 90,000 businesses.
Happy Austin Spurs week. Not literally Austin
Make
Spurs,
this year
Austin,
where no
Spurs.
opportunity and no customer slips away.
Yes.
Try
Likewise.
Quo for free. Plus, get 20%
Yeah,
off
I'll be there
for 6
tonight
months
for the game.
when you go to
So, hopefully the Spurs will get a
quo.com/LockedOnNBA.
but we're going to talk about that later. Make sure to follow Casey on X at Casey_Vieira.
No missed
He'll
calls,
talk about
no
what
missed
he does here at Locked On Spurs in just a few minutes. Casey, let's dive into it. And can you believe the stretch run is here? This is it. About 20-ish game, about 25, 28 games. And then next thing you know, it's going to be Fiesta and Spurs playoffs. That's finally coming together again after 6 long years. But with these last few games, what are you going to be looking for? What's among your storylines in the last remaining regular season games for the Spurs?
I think it's going to be closing out strong. I think it's going to be a matter of being able to continue to validate what they are in the Western Conference and really in the league, and continue to make a lot of people believe that this is the team that's here. And I say here in the standpoint that the championship window might actually be here. We know that they belong. Obviously, you're not the second seed in the Western Conference if you don't not belong. But I'm looking forward to seeing that and the continued development on that front of this team as the games get that much more closer. I also like the idea, or keep an eye on the idea of the idea of playing as the hunted as opposed to the hunters, which is they've been, well, if we can even call them hunters, the past 5 seasons, but there's the bullseye that's on their back this year, and understandably so again, and deservedly so again. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I think that we've gotten to a point where we're having all these conversations and they're valid about what these last 20-something games the rest of the way is going to look like. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and the good news is the bulk of these games are going to be at home the moment the rodeo road trip is over. So the Spurs are not going to be spending that much time away from San Antonio in the last remaining games. So that should help the Spurs either chase that 1 seed or maintain that 2 seed. And that leads to my storyline is what I just said right now. Can they get the 1 seed? They're not that far out. It's not like it's something insurmountable. It's not like it's 10 games. It's way less than that. I'm going to pull it up here for you. You bring up the fact, too, that SGA is out. Then the Thunder don't look like the mighty, insurmountable, invincible Thunder team anymore. Right now, they're only 3 games back of OKC for that 1 spot. I want to see if they get it. Why? Because I think getting that 1 seed and then having home court advantage throughout the playoffs, that helps them. It helps them maybe kind of cover up the fact that, they don't have much postseason experience, cover up the fact that they get to play in their own gym and they don't have to worry about travel. So that's good. So that's my storyline. 3 games back of OKC. Casey, OKC is not looking strong. Can they do it?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Am I overly confident that there's enough time to catch up and do that? I'm a little bit more on the fence about that. I do think that it's paramount that they really try to get that 1 seed, because in my mind, the Spurs kryptonite, their biggest opposition this year, when it comes to, and even though they've beaten them in the lone meeting, in my mind, the biggest, maybe not kryptonite, but essentially hindrance, if you will, in my opinion, is the Denver Nuggets. And I think if they get that 1 seed, in all likelihood, you would not probably see the Denver Nuggets until the Western Conference Finals, because Denver will be somewhere in that 2 or that 3, unless they bottom and they fall into that 4-5, which I know they've been banged up, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think the top 3 in the West are going to be what you're looking at right now, and probably end up what they currently are, the current standings of OKC, San Antonio, but OKC, San Antonio, Denver. But for the sake of the conversation, I think, and for me, more than anything, making that push for that 1 seed and still having a reasonable chance at getting it, I think it's, 1, yes, the home court is obviously important, but 2, I think if you can keep away from the Denver Nuggets for as long as you can, and you take care of business on your side, you're in a good spot. And if you're the 1 seed, you're not matching up with them, again, if you take care of your business until the Western Conference Finals. But to roundabout way to go back to answer your question, I think they can catch Oklahoma City. I just don't think there's enough time realistically for them to pull it off.
Let me ask you something, Casey.
Yeah.
Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets. Of those 3 teams, it seems to me the Spurs will need the home court advantage more so than those other 2 teams. I say that because I can see Denver and Joker and SGA and Thunder and all those guys being like, take it, San Antonio. You need to have it. Have it. We'll love to have it. But if you got to have it, take it. We can still beat you in your gym. I think it just seems more important for the Spurs to get that 1 seed right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you, because I don't think the Spurs intimidate either of those two teams, despite the fact that they have had an immense amount of success against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think at the end of the day the Thunder are afraid of the Spurs. Do they respect the Spurs? Yeah. Do they dislike the Spurs? Yeah, I also think that's true. All those things can be true at the same time. I just see it right now from the lens that they are, like you said, I don't think they're prioritizing health over seeding, in my
absolutely,
opinion, because they have not been healthy. They have not been healthy for the duration of the season, and it's only really gotten consistently worse. J-Dub's been banged up pretty much the duration of the year, and SGA, as we know, he's been banged up recently. We'll see what that looks like on the other side of the All-Star break. But I don't believe OKC is in a spot right now where they're thinking too much about seeding, like you said, as opposed to just prioritizing getting guys on the floor. And I think the same applies for Denver too. Denver has been just as much banged up. And like we saw last year, injuries were really the deciding factor once Aaron Gordon went down in that Oklahoma City series, because Aaron Gordon doesn't go down ahead of that Game 7. You can make a real case that OKC is not a champion right now, and Denver probably has their second in the Nikola Jokic era. Realistically, I think that's a realistic conversation. So yeah, I think those are just 2 veteran teams who are not necessarily intimidated by the Spurs, perhaps not to be condescending to Spurs on that front, but the idea of being the underdog or being the road, having to go on the road to do their job. And I don't think they're faced by that. And I think they're, prioritizing their well-being ahead of time.
What's else on your storyline list here? What are you looking at? Let's talk about 5-Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy flavored draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which
might be sleepers. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and only one is going to take the top spot. 5 Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors, something for everyone. Gives you a boost with zero sugar, has a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned. You know, they're going to have so many flavors you're going to be able to choose from. You even have some limited time flavors from 5 Hour Energy that you're going to love, and you're going to want to have them come back. Definitely is going to be one that you're going to find and like. Cotton candy, for example, throwback flavor with a boost, light, airy candy profile, nostalgic carnival style taste, pure sweetness from start to finish, sweet tooth fix without the sugar goat. What about cherry, bold cherry, candy style flavor, sweet with a light tart edge, classic red fruit profile, bright punchy taste, smooth, easy to recognize, clean, slightly tangy finish. Yeah, so many flavors. You're going to love them. Find your new flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Access to ad-free audio feed for Locked On Spurs, compatible with Apple's Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat for just listeners of this show and, well, hanging out with a lot of other fans on Discord. You want to go to this website right now, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Go there right now, or just tap the link in the show notes to learn more.
I think another thing I'm looking at is seeing how Victor can close the year and Victor stay healthy.
Good one.
I you know me, between the squad shows and the postcast and coming on here, I don't think there's anyone who's been more skeptical or at least concerned about Victor's health, of how they should manage it, how they should make it work, what lengths they should go to, what lengths they shouldn't go to, playing him, putting him on a consistent plan, or not doing that. And I'm interested to see how that works out the rest of the way, because since he's come back, he has been largely in pretty good health, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and at least better than I think a lot of us thought he was going to be. And I don't want to speak for you, but at least for me, I was, and we still have some time to go before we can really put a period on the end of that sentence. But I was concerned. Like, I had valid concerns, and I still do have valid concerns. And I know we're not at the finish line, like final finish line yet, by any stretch of the means. So that's one thing I'm looking out for, how they manage it. And if Victor is able to, they not necessarily how they manage it, how he managed it individually too,
Right.
I think that's a very cautionary aspect of it for me, but it's certainly been more encouraging over the past few weeks because he has played. He has seen that minutes restriction go by the wayside. He hasn't had anything holding him back anymore. And in a not so stunning turn of events,
to be a better way.
the Spurs
And
have
there
been
is
playing
streamlining your
fantastic over the
communications, one
past
of the
6
quickest
games heading
upgrades you
into
can
the
make.
break. And
That's why
he has looked
today's episode is brought to
continuously
you by
better
Quo.
and better
Spelled
and better.
QUO.
So it's kind of a
The
fingers
smarter way
crossed
to run
token
your
that
business.
you're
Because
going to
when your
get to the
team
finish
is
line with a
reachable,
healthy Victor.
organized, and communicating in one
Hopefully
place,
that means he's
you're
still in
not
play
just
for
working
some of these
cleaner,
awards,
you're creating more opportunities to connect
because
with customers. The
he
whole
probably
team
he has
can
4
call,
more games
text
of real
from
estate to
one
work
shared
with
business
here.
number, so nothing
And
gets missed.
probably if
Everyone
that
sees a full
stays
conversation
that
thread,
way, he's going to
makes
be
replies
defensive player
faster,
of the
more
year.
personal.
It's
It works
unlikely.
right
I
from
don't
your
think
phone or computer
I think the
and can
MVP
even
is going
keep
to be
your
out of Martin's
existing
reach. I
number.
don't,
That's
pun
why
intended.
Quo
I don't
Smart
think that's
AI
going to
tools
happen. But
automatically
to
log
make one of the
calls,
All
summarize
NBA
conversations,
squads, to make
highlight next
defensive
steps,
player of the
so
year,
details never slip through the
I think
cracks.
that'd be
So no surprise, Quo is the #1
the
rated
end
business phone
result of the
system on
team's
G2,
success being
trusted by
what
more
it
than
is right now.
90,000
I
businesses,
think that'd be a
from solo
fantastic
operators
finish
to
to the
growing
season. But of
teams.
course, all that
Make
is
this year
health
where no
assumed,
opportunity and no
fingers
customer slips
crossed
away.
going into
Try
when
Quo
the
for
games
free.
get real important in the
Plus, get
spring.
20% off your first 6 months.
For me,
When you go to
another thing on my list,
quo.com/LockedOnNBA.
storylines to watch for
That's
is that 3-point shooting. Is that going
QUO.com/LockedOnNBA.
to be
Quo. No missed
ultimately
calls,
one
no
of
missed
their
customers.
dooms, if you will? We know experience could do it, but maybe this is force spreading. They did not address that with a Plumlee signing. A little more on that in a bit. And here we are. And if we look at some numbers here, I got it right here. Right now, 22nd in the NBA in 3-point field goal percentage, 43.7%. That's near the bottom. They cannot be consistent in that department. That is perhaps their biggest weakness. So with the game slowing down in the postseason, the teams compacting in that half court, I could see teams say, all right, Champagnie, Vassell, Harper, Castle, you're going to do damage. Do it over there. We know some of your strengths are getting into this lane here. Yeah, go for it. I want to see if they make an effort to try to improve in that department. If somebody's going to step up and really be a sniper for them, no knock on Julian Champagnie. He's been the closest sniper they've had. But they need more. They need more in that department. It could be this guy. You see on your screen, Vassell. He was out for a while with some injury, maybe with some rhythm. Coming back, Rotary Road Trip may fix some things. Maybe he could be the secondary sniper. He's damn good in the mid-range, but we need a little bit more force spacing. I'm watching that, Casey. What about you?
You made it this far, Locked On Spurs fans, and yep, as you can see on your screen, if you're watching on YouTube or if not, technical difficulties. This is Jeff Garcia, host here. Just a quick heads up, moving forward of this show, it'll be audio only. Myself and Casey, we had major video difficulties, just issues galore. So again, we tried our best to try to rectify things, just could not happen. So yeah, moving forward, just a heads up, audio only. But hey, we'll be back tomorrow with a full video show. So continue listening to this episode of Locked On Spurs.
I think that's probably going to be a decisive factor in whether they're a one and done in the playoffs or reaching the conference finals, right? And I think that's just primarily every team is flawed in some capacity and has some aspect that can bring them down and can kind of derail the title hopes. Realistic title hopes. Every team has that. The Spurs aren't immune to it, but this is the one that they do have. It's this and trouble in the offense in the half court when the game slows down and inexperience. And will that resolve itself at this point? I'm not sure. I don't think it will. I don't think it's a matter of them that being able to resolve it, because I think that's kind of their identity, and we're essentially 3/4 into the season, and that type of stuff usually doesn't iron it out. It's just streaky. I think the conversation is, can they win in spite of that? Can they win these games when they shoot sub 30% from three? Can their defense compensate from that for that? And we've seen at times, they've been able to do it. They have. But we've also seen at times where they're not running guys off the 3-point line, and their subsequent misses in three turn into transition threes on the other side because they're not closing out, not getting back, and they can't run these dudes off. And next thing you know, the opponents are zeroing in on 50% from the field for the duration of the game. But like I said, I think every team, no team this year in this league is perfect right now. Every one of these teams is flawed. Teams are flawed. Every one of them of these contenders, so to speak, has something that's going to potentially derail them. And the Spurs are no different on that front. But then at the same time, it's no different in the sense that I think they can still get the best of just about any team in the postseason.
Yeah, I think if anything's going to really help them in that department, it's just their defense. It'll just cover up that ward. They're just great defensively. I think that their offense is good overall, except for the 3-point shooting, but their defense is stellar. So that should help iron things out. Hey, look, there's so many other storylines out there as the last 20-ish games are here. Let us know what you got on your list. Let Casey know on X at Casey_Vieira. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Hey, the Spurs made a roster move. Mason Plumlee, the 13-year vet, is joining the team on a 10-day contract. He replaces the spot left open by Jeremy Sohan. That was one of the needs the Spurs needed, Casey. They needed more size. Definitely can't address that more than a big dude like that. But good move, bad move. Where do you stand? Or kind of like, it is what it is. I mean, where do you lay on that spectrum?
Is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's kind of like the Biombo thing last year, where they needed an extra body down the stretch, and that actually turned out to work out pretty well because he's been a pretty solid vet to have around, right? And I think this is kind of one of those deals where you're looking for that kind of veteran experience going into the postseason. And you get it in any which way that you can. And Plumlee's been there. Plumlee has spent time. He's been on winning teams. He's been a part of winning teams. He's been a part of losing teams. And I think that having that there is helpful from a veteran standpoint. I'm not anticipating much on the court, if anything at all. I think it's just a matter of getting another professional in there now that these games matter, really matter. And the postseason is here, essentially, just about here. I'm not, no, I don't think this is a X's and O's type move. I'm not expecting much impact. That said, I don't think it's a bad ad. It's just kind of another veteran presence to have around.
Right.
Why not, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, don't expect any splashy when it comes to the stats, everybody. 1.9 points per game, 2.9 rebounds this season with the Hornets before he was let go. He played 14 games for Charlotte. Now, his career averages are 7.9 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 2.4 assists, about 21 minutes per game. I mean, he's a journeyman. Played with the Nets, Portland, Denver, Detroit, Charlotte, Clippers, and now the Spurs. So the Spurs needed some big man insurance. They definitely got it. I just wish that perhaps they went looking for a sharpshooter in the waiver pool.
Yeah.
That I think of the two needs, size and shooting, I would have gone with shooting. Casey?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the more notable need. But then again, if you're picking through the waiver wire, what's really out there, right?
Exactly.
And no, there's not really a whole lot out there.
New year, new system. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communication is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled QUO, the smarter way to run your business. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. The whole team can call, text from one shared business number so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, makes replies faster, more personal. It works right from your phone or computer and can even keep your existing number. That's why Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, highlight next steps, so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is the number one rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is Job 4 Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people you can actually fit what you're looking for, skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching for more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time switching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? There's a job for Indeed sponsors job.
Not at all. In case y'all are wondering, Plumlee will wear number 45 for the Spurs. So tough luck there, DeJuan Blair. Tough luck there, DeJuan Blair.
And his no ACLs.
And his no ACLs. All right. Moving right along. Hey, there's a game tonight. Yeah, the Spurs resume their season out in Austin, Texas today. They're taking on the Suns, the team they have not beaten this year. The Suns are 2-0 versus your silver and black. It's the beginning of the Austin week.
again out in Austin, Texas. So taking a look at the Suns here, 7th in the NBA. Not bad. It could be a potential first round meet perhaps for the Spurs. As of right now, they would meet them 2-7. 32-23 heading into today's game. And when it comes to their numbers, they're not bad, Casey, but they're not horrible. They're not great as well. They're 10th in defensive rebound, top 10, give them that, 114.3 defensive rating. And offensive rating, Casey, 14th. I'm a little surprised by that number, 116.1 offensive rating, good for a net rating of 1.9. And they are 11th in the Western Conference. But something about the Suns, when they see that silver and black jersey, man, they all turn into half Devin Bookers and half Steph Currys, don't they?
Yeah. No, they've gotten up for the Spurs team this year, right? They've gotten up for the Spurs team, and honestly, I think a lot of it is, like you said, some of the numbers indicate they've just really upped things on the defensive end, and Coach Ott over there in his first season, formerly the Cavaliers. I mean, he's done a real good job in kind of instilling that identity. You saw, and some of these guys that they have had, who essentially are, might as well call them cast-offs or journeymen at this point, right? The Royce O'Neals of the world have been halfway decent. Dylan Brooks is having a very nice season. Obviously, Book has, Book is Book, though he hasn't been healthy for a large chunk of the year. But I mean, they've overachieved for sure. They've overachieved without a doubt, and as we've kind of learned what the Spurs are to the Thunder so far in the very early portion of the season, the Suns have kind of been that to the Spurs, and they've had San Antonio's number. So we'll see. It'll be interesting on that front, to see how the Spurs respond, because for the most part in the two games that they have played there, they haven't played particularly well. And whether that's a thing, a notable aspect from a one team having the under standpoint, perhaps. I guess we'll find out. But definitely something to look forward to as the games trend back up to Austin.
I'm glad you mentioned the Suns are kind of iffy right now. And I think the Spurs are catching them at a good time if they want to get that first win against Phoenix. So heading into today's contest, if you look at their last 5 games, Casey, not good. Not good if you're a Phoenix Sun. 2-3 in their last 5. Their defensive rating has plummeted. Again, overall, it's 10th at 114.3, but in the last 5, it's fallen to 24th, 122. So defensively, they're not getting it done. Offensively, they're gotten a little better, 117.7 offensive rating. But again, 2-3 in their last 5. They're not crashing the boards. 18th in defensive rebounding at 72.5%. Blocks, the dead last, 2.4 block percentage. Steals are about in the middle, ninth. Steal percentage of 9. There we go. Good for 14th in the NBA. So I think the Spurs are catching them at the right time. But then again, they did have some time off, as the Spurs did. So who knows? Maybe they shook the cobwebs out. But statistically, Casey, Spurs might be primed to start off the Austin games with the win.
Yeah, I would I would definitely say exactly that. This is, like we talked about, this is not your father's rodeo road trip. This is a rodeo road trip right now, where, given how tough their schedule has been in terms of playing away from the Frost Bank Center, this is probably I don't want to say a cakewalk, but this is definitely a lesser ask of this team, when in the month of December it was 20 of 22 on the road that they were spending. And being able to continue this road trip essentially in front of a home crowd, well rested off of an all-star break. The Spurs are definitely primed to pick off these first 2 and have that streak reach 8 up to this point. No reason to believe that not being the case, right?
Well, we have a little doubt, Casey, because don't the Suns, don't they own the Wemby stopper named Dylan Brooks?
I mean, listen, if we're going by early returns, then yes. because if we're being fair, if we're taking off Fiesta color goggles here, that first game was one of the worst games that Wemby's played throughout the entire season, right?
Right.
That first game where we're 5-6 games into the year. I mean, he was awful. So to a certain extent, yes, I would say, yeah, you're correct. Emphasis on certain extent.
Certain extent. Yeah, exactly. Certain extent there. Man, he is confident, huh? Isn't he? You can't doubt Brooks that.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Apparently, he's the one who laid out the map, the blueprint, how to slow down Wemby for the rest of the NBA.
I'm sure he is.
I thought it was you, Casey. I thought you did that.
It most definitely was. It most definitely was not I can assure you.
Yeah. Spurs could have hired you on that coaching staff, said, all right, help us out here.
The Spurs would not be second in the Western Conference if that were to have been the case.
You get hired next day. They're dead last in the West now. What the H happened?
How is that statistically possible?
Well,
already dead last.
You'll probably figure it out.
Yeah, I'll find a way. You'll find
a way. All right. He is Mr. Casey Vieira. He is the co-host of the Locked On Spurs post-game shows and host of the Locked On Spurs squad shows. Casey, tell us about those.
Oh, you know what it is. It's your get together, your favorite friends. The squad shows are a couple times a week. Heard us last night. Usually we're Tuesday, Thursdays. The game schedule is not getting in the way. But the game schedule obviously getting in the way this week. So Monday, Wednesday, but we'll be back to that, I believe, next week as well. 1 hour of myself, Jeff, and former Spur Devin Brown getting together and talking everything silver and black. And on the postcasts, following every Spurs game. So right after the game tonight, 7:30 tip-off, come right back to Locked On Spurs, and you know exactly where to find myself and Devin Brown, hopefully talking about a Spurs win once things up in Austin go final.
Hey, at least they're not like those West Coast games where you two guys are up, at 1 a.m.?
Yeah, that right before the end of the break there. Yeah, the back-to-back between the who was in already? Lakers and Warriors.
It was Lakers and Warriors, yeah.
Yeah. There have been lighter stretches. That first Lakers game, man, our show, I don't think we went on till about 12:30 in the morning because that was the game where they set the record for the most fouls and free throws in a game or something like that. And it was like 3 hours in real time, I believe.
I remember that. Yeah, it was the longest Spurs game. I think the second longest was the Knicks game at home. I think that was. But I know the Lakers was number one.
Yeah, probably.
The one. I think about you guys every time it's a West Coast game. I'm like, oh man, no.
We're all right. We'll make it. We'll survive.
Exactly. He is Casey Vieira. Make sure to follow him on X at Casey_Vieira. We apologize for the audio-only portion to close out the show. There was a massive tech issues, I think, on both ends. We couldn't figure it out, and Casey, he's a busy man, so we got to let him go. So we appreciate your patience there, everybody else. Casey, thanks again for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day, free and available wherever you get podcasts. You know what to do. Subscribe. iTunes, Spotify, Kensfi, Plus app, YouTube. Go do that right now. Check out the NBA Everydayer Club. So what is that? You get this show, Locked On Spurs, for free. Well, ad-free, I should say. And you get access to a Discord channel. You can chat it up with some silver and black fans. You got to go sign up right now. It's very easy to do. You just want to go to lockedonpodcast.com/Everydayer Club. There, you'll figure it out and see how to join it and have some fun. Do that ASAP. We'll be back tomorrow as we close out the week here on Locked On Spurs. So for Mr. Casey Vieira, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.